How's it going, guys? Keith here with KT, and I just wanted to do a little quick rundown on what we've got going this year and coming up. I think our biggest line is the drifter line. So we go from 11 liters all the way to 170 liters. Big sizes in general are more like entry level, intermediate, learning to wing. Then as you get into the smaller sizes and kind of the appropriate volume for your conditions and all, it goes from intermediate to advanced. So it's a real progressive line. You know, the 11 liter obviously is for pumping, and then the smaller sizes for pumping, and then going into prone foiling or a small wing board. And then as you get into the middle sizes, it's more about the winging and foil drive. So it's a really accessible, broad, easy to use board. This year in general, the whole line got a little longer and a little narrower in proportion to last year's line. So we've been finding that a little length and a little less width is more efficient than more width and less length. You know, more stable, quicker once you get moving forward. It also gets going quicker moving forward because it's narrower and a little more length. So in general, we try to do the same thing throughout the line within reason and not going too far from what we've already done, but just making it a progressive step so people feel it, but still get the benefits of some width on the drifter. And then obviously on the other lines, they're a little longer. So you're getting the stability from the length, not the width. Once you start moving on a foil board forward, you get stability from your foil. So you're looking for that front to back stability, not so much the lateral stability. But
any changes to the bottom of the board?
Yeah, that said,
shape as well.
Yeah. So I've gone to this light bevel on the rail. It's a double concave through here. It's almost like a displacement hull with double concave in it. So it's glidey in the low end. Gives you a little bit of traction from the double, like a little bit of tracking. Not bad though. It doesn't track in a certain weird way. It just gives you a little bit of stability and tracking. And then you can see in the tails here, we have this bevel on the tail itself that allows the tail to be a little bit narrower for the width on the deck. And that's important for when you're banking turns, and so that you get the tail out of the way. And you know, and most of this line is inspired from Kane and, you know, what he's into and his crazy abilities and what he needs. And so that leads kind of to like what we developed, me and him, is the SuperK. And this is kind of the board of choice this year for a lot of people, or to try at least. And this is in the mid-length genre. So we have full displacement hull. There's no double concave. We have the patented step bottom that we do. And these are all much longer and much narrower. So you're getting that like front to back stability, and you're getting the stability quicker because the board moves forward faster. And so it allows the stability from the foil and the efficiency of a narrower, longer board to get going quick and get off the water. The step helps you step off quicker, release from the water quicker. You're a little closer to your foil. That's always a positive. Smaller sizes don't have handles. We start having a handle about at the 80 liter. So always trying to save weight. I think a big thing that we've changed this year is the way we're building the boards. Our layups are generally the same, but we've gone to, it's called the light mold technology. And we've developed this with our partner Cobra. And it's where it's just basically the board is one shot. So it's built in one go. There's no doing the first step and then laminating and vacuuming and switching and then hot coating and sanding. So basically the board comes out of the mold pretty much ready. Obviously it has to be a little bit finished and put the paint on it. But what's cool about that, and being a shaper, you know, and seeing variances in boards and how they can vary when humans touch the boards, it was nice to add an element of consistency and predictability, and that things aren't changing too much. So when the board comes out of the mold, all these edges and all that are already there. So there's no like hot coating, tuning, and sanding, because the more I touch a board or the more anybody touches a board, the more it can skew from what your original idea is. So it was really important, and I'm pretty excited about that aspect of what we're doing, because it's, as a shaper, I see a lot of things that a lot of people don't, you know, and things that bother me or that overall probably aren't going to affect things so much, but it affects how I feel about the thing, the board or whatever. So it's important for me to see those details, that they're crisp and that they're working like they should, and that the board's being the most efficient it can be for anybody. And And, you know, I think that's something consistent throughout what we do is just getting that consistency, the weight consistent, the look consistent, so that when we sell a product that we can really stand behind it and know that it's going to perform like we want it to.
So if somebody's brand new to winging, for example, out of the new boards from your new line, which do you think they would want to start on?
I think the drifter is the one you want to start on.
Okay.
You know, that's the most accessible. You know, when you're learning, it's a little unstable. It's a very awkward feeling. And so, you know, going to this board right here gives you the stability. Yet there's enough length to get the thing planing quick. You know, that's a great place to start. And then if you like that feeling, you can transition into the smaller sizes and continue on with that feeling. If you want something maybe for a little bit more directional feel, a little bit of a different pump, the SuperK is amazing as well. I think, you know, those in the smaller sizes, you know, intermediate to advanced. In the bigger sizes, you can go into a little bit entry level, but I think you need a sense of what you're doing already and kind of already learning the foil. And then you can feel the benefits of it because you're not struggling to get up, because there is a little lateral instability more than, say, the drifter. But the minute you move forward, which is pretty instantaneous, that stability is there with your foil.
So for a lot of us, let's say, because we're back east in Canada on some of the Great Lakes, we're riding some beautiful swell there.
Yeah.
If somebody is they're over the beginner stage, what do you think? Something like this, something like this?
When you say swell, I always kind of go to
8 to 10 feet, 7 feet, 6 feet.
The SuperK.
Okay.
Because I like the longer, narrower boards, you know, including our Dragonflies series, they have a way of affecting a foil that's much more intuitive than I think a board that's wide. The width is great when you're trying to get some stability to learn, but when you're trying to drive turns and finish turns, length helps that better. For one, you're not offsetting your feet, let's say, like this, you know, because you don't have it in there. You're standing more naturally in the middle of the board because it doesn't allow you to, one, and that's the stability of how that board works. And then two, when you're on the board, you're standing up here, so there's no more nose. You're balanced in the middle of the board, so everything you're doing is very balanced from bottom turn to cutback. So the bottom turn, the front, is helping you drive. You're not having to move your feet from side to side to offset or anything. So you can drive a turn, and then when you're cutting back, the same thing. You can maybe shift your feet back and forwards, but you can finish your turns really easily. And the fact that you have this equal nose and tail, roughly volumes and narrowness, it allows you to really push on the foil, and it actually drives the foil as well as yourself. Whereas this is it's a bit of a slower reaction time. It's like whoop, whoop. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But if you start getting used to this, it's just beautiful how it drives the foil. And the other thing is the pumping is really equal, because it's a real nice stability and action this way because of the narrowness and the length. And you learn to get your feet narrower and narrower and just stand on the power of the foil and the lift. It's amazing.
I was riding the drifter maybe 2 weeks ago. I was stuff about this high Lake Ontario. And I was more like you were just saying. Yeah. Because it's comfy. I have the boards. I was wider. Yeah. And Frank was saying, how are you riding like that? I said, well, it's available. Yeah. But just getting the feel of something a bit narrower, your stance would change.
It would. Yeah. And I think for me, it's the way foils like to be ridden. And that's how, for me, not being that good, it allows me to kind of control the foil and feel in control and get the kind of turns I like, as opposed to the wider one where it's a little more delayed. That's all. And again, there's nothing wrong with it or anything, but it offers to me kind of where I want to go with my foiling, and it's a much more surf-oriented finishing kind of turns, fluidness. I mean, you look at Keen and Ryan and these guys, and the turns they're doing is just off the hook.
Now, you changed the deck pads, right, from last year?
Yeah, changed the deck pads. Yeah. I mean, we really worked on this. It's kind of like a medium density, not too soft, not too hard. Super nice grip, back to forth and forward and back. Comfortable. It's nice to have a little bit higher density so we can protect the board a little bit more, but not so thick that you can't feel and get a feel and not have that like real direct feel from the board.
And you got rid of the step rail there at the back.
I went flat. Yep. just basically flat. It's got a light concave through it.
Sorry, I just meant that
the arch, the back thing.
Yeah.
To be honest, unless you have that thing perfectly placed, you're never going to touch it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's like, why put something if it's not going to add weight and, whatever. And also, I think your knees can sometimes get touched on, get stuck on that. And also,
Sure.
we just realized that it wasn't a necessity.
Okay.
So
now this is the new
Ginsu.
There you go.
And, we realized that just through last year's boards and what was going on in the Ginsu, it was beautiful. And it really connected us close to the foil. We realized that we wanted something that was a little more neutral, something that wouldn't sit so far down, but still have the benefits of our patented step. And so this is the Ginsu 2. And same concept. It's a little longer, a little narrower than last year's. Obviously, there's less step, but we realized the seed benefits in the release. We didn't need to be so deep. And that allowed the board to be a little more neutral and a little bit more accessible to a broader range of people. Like Otis, this is what he competes on to do all the 50,000 flips and all that, and he loves this model. And same thing, this is a displacement with a little bit of double. And I really like how it goes into the step. And then, we have the same kind of bevel in the back. So you have clearance when you're doing these heavy turns. Same kind of pad, strap options. And again, I think reiterating on the construction that we do, the layup's basically the same as what we do in our custom stuff, but we've really been able to bring it into that light mold technology and make it consistent and those edges. And it's so important as a shaper. And for me, if I can use our tools and technology to make that better, I'm all about it.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right on.